you die! On your feet! Get them going!
You think I'd know by now. Good afternoon, good evening, good morning, whatever the case may be. Welcome Cross Examinations Live. I'm host Mike S. Miller. Today we will be talking about Romans, the chapter 4. Let me go ahead and share this out. I know it's a little early because once again it is a Monday. Mondays are my this just doesn't fit into my schedule, does it at all? Day. So I, of course, got out of bed late. Too late to start this at 11 o'clock, and I have to leave at noon to take my son to school. So we have a very short episode today, so I don't have time for all of the typical rigmarole. If you guys could share this out to the Discord, I don't think I need to try to blast this out everywhere today. Wow, my camera seems very sharp in focus today. Is that because of my new... I have the thing that controls my... I downloaded the thing that controls my camera. Hey, I know you guys are all having a very difficult time with the price of eggs right now, and eggs aren't everything, so everything's very expensive. Costco, while they are out of fresh eggs, there's fights at Costco for people trying to get the fresh eggs, right? I've seen videos of this crazy stuff. They, however, do have free-ranged, hard-boiled chickens. You get 32 in a box for $10. So if you still want hard-boiled eggs for whatever your hard-boiled egg needs are, that's the way to go. They're not green, but it's yellow. I just realized how long it takes to chew a hard-boiled egg. So it's like $10, Amy, for 32. That's almost 3 dozen. Darn near 3 dozen eggs for $10. But you know what? A few years ago, I would have said that was a ripoff. But compared to prices today, even at my bargain market groceries outlet, the eggs there are like $8 a 12-pack. It's insane. I've seen them as high as $12. It's madness. I'm sorry these take so long to chew and swallow. I shouldn't have done this. But it's done. For convenience food, right? I mean, oh gosh, yeah. I'll mow through those. I love hard-boiled eggs. But, you can make egg salad. You can make egg sandwiches. You can make deviled eggs, whatever. Hard-boiled eggs are nearly the same cost as regular eggs. Well, 32 for $10 is considerably cheaper than a dozen for $12 right now. Dark Admiral said, I had a hookup on farm fresh eggs, but coyotes kept getting into his hands and being in city limits. I can't help him get rid of them. Oh, man. You know what you need? You know what he needs? A larger dog. We had coyotes here on the hill. And then a new neighbor moved in 2 houses down with bigger dogs. And the coyote problem just stopped. They can't even get out of their yard. But I don't know, maybe they just the coyotes smell the dogs or something, and they disappeared. They haven't been hunted or anything. They're no longer a problem. Max goes out all the time now. I mean, not now, but I lost 7 cats in 5 years. Just got out and disappeared. And cats tend to just wander on back if they don't get kidnapped, run over, or eaten by coyotes. And only one of them that I'd only ever seen one of them get hit by a car. I heard you can substitute eggs with buttermilk and baking. Was it baking soda? I have to look it up again. Yeah, coyotes are back. I saw some canid paw prints in my backyard the other day. Well, I mean, I don't want a large dog because I don't even want a small dog. I don't want to take care of a dog. I love dogs. They're cute and friendly and all the good stuff about dogs. I'm not walking a dog and picking up its poop. That's just not going to happen. I will scoop poop out of sand and put it in a bag and throw it away. But I will not follow a dog around the neighborhood waiting for it to poop like some slave to a dog and then pick it up with my hands and carry it with me until I find a trash can. This Mike Miller will not do. I will never be a slave to a dog. Eggs can never be substituted. They are amazing. I know, right? They are. It's true. All right, so you guys got this off into the Discord, right? I'm checking your work, guys. I don't see it unless you only put it in the cross-examinations tab. Nope, you didn't even put it there. Guys, I asked for one little thing from you. Just share it in the Discord. And what? You're going to make me do it myself. I already have limited time. And you guys have not shared. Okay. Evie and Yenek are arguing about black people? What? All right. I will. Okay, maybe you misunderstand my point. All right, I'll do it myself. Share, copy, then go to the Discord and say, "You're alive, everyone. Send now." That's what I meant by share it in the Discord. I didn't mean share the Discord link here. I meant let people know in the Discord that we're live. All right. The problem was bad enough for a while back home that there was a bounty on coyotes. My buddy wanted me to go out with him. I wish I could have. Would have been good money. Buttermilk and baking soda are only used for leavening. Eggs are used to solidify and thicken things. Proteins congeal when heated. Do you know what else I always thought they could use as a substitute for a binder? And maybe you'd have to like grind it into a powder, but psyllium husk. Psyllium husk, you get it wet. I mean, you put it in water, it absorbs and it turns into like a gelatin. Like it really gets like solidified, right? So I was wondering if you could just use that instead of like something with gluten, because like gluten-free cookies and stuff, they crumble. There's no straw in their bricks. There's nothing that there's no glue. There's no gluten in the cookie, so you pick it up and it just falls apart, right? So if you use like psyllium husk, would that fix that? I was clickbaited in by Mike. What's up, Pseudo History? Andrew Hayes, Joe K. Welcome back, Dark Admiral. But Jeff Potts, Amy Lester, Melissa Lester, everybody else that I did or not say. If I missed you, Drake. What's up, Drake? Everyone is helloed. All right, we're gonna. What do you say? Eat what birds eat. Hell no. I'll eat the birds. Although birds will eat each other, so in a sense, you're right. Birds eat birds, so I eat birds. Yes, you can use psyllium husks as an alternative for eggs. That's not what I said, Jeff. That's not what I said at all. I feel seen, says Drake Tungsten. I feel misunderstood because Jeff Potts doesn't understand what I was saying. And I'm not sure if he's being honest. I don't see how you could use psyllium husks as an alternative for eggs. But if he knows something I don't know, then I'm happy to learn about it, I guess. Anyways, sorry, it even took me longer to get started today because for some flim farm reason, I cannot get this camera to work. Although, sorry, now I'm just pulling. Oh, it's still plugged in. There we go. Is that right? Am I in the wrong spot? It's Monday, guys. You're just gonna have to bear with me. Cut me some slack. Gosh, now it's tilted. Monday. Before the Ice Age, women laid. That sounds like some pseudo history. Well done. I used to have that exact same webcam. I have two of them, and my son took this one to his room because I was no longer doing the dual webcam setup where I was drawing, stuff. But now I am, and so I was doing, like, for those of you who don't know, but everybody here is a regular, so they do. So I've been doing commissions. So I was doing Zatanna the other day, and he wanted me to change. I hate it when I have to fix anything because I hate whiteout on my art. And it wasn't a fix, like there was nothing wrong with what I had to do, or there was nothing wrong with what I did. It was a preference of the customer. I hate whiteout on my pages. You could go through my stacks and stacks and stacks, unless I'm using it for additional texture, like whiting out some of the lines, like the cross hatching. Then I go back in and cross hatch with a whiteout. Then that's okay. But like sections of whiteout that make it look like I made a mistake, you make your mistakes in pencil, and then you erase. When it comes to ink, no mistakes allowed. And it drives me nuts. It burns me crazy. Mike is drawing porn again. No. My rule on porn is if you can do it in the public square, if you can wear it in the public square, it's not porn, is it? If you can't wear it in the public square, it's not porn. I mean, if you cannot wear it in the public square, it's porn. But we already have laws for it, right? Decency laws. Decency laws should apply to pornography. Pornography is not free speech. Pornography is not speech. That's why you can't do it in the public square. And if it's in the public square, or if it's not, if it's if you're on a public square, I don't know, I just think it should be illegal. If it doesn't abide decency laws, it shouldn't abide publication. That's my position, either digitally or on paper or whatever. There's healthy exhibitionism. There is, and look, I know in France they let, if you're at the beach, but the beach isn't really the public square, right? You wouldn't, all right, you'd be allowed to walk around like downtown in a bikini, but it would just seem very odd. You'd be like, is this a publicity stunt or something? But you'd be allowed to. You would not be allowed to walk around, if you're a girl, sans top, or if you're a boy, sans bottom. The laws are already on the books. I just don't. I think the whole People versus Larry Flint case was decided wrongly. I don't think there is a right to publish pornography. As artists, we sometimes study the figure in the nude. That's not the public square. That's not the public square. I mean, I'm not going to say doctors can't work on patients. Doctors can't study anatomy. Artists can't study the human figure. That's not the public square. Private, that's very much a private. You wouldn't go hold life drawing in the middle of Central Park. I mean, not with a nude model, right? I'm talking about public, the public decency. Public decency never had any sway on figure drawing classes. That was a good squirrel. Yeah, and honestly, we should probably just get it. Porn is actually slang. It's called the gentleman's club. Pseudo history, you're good. You're good. I'll give you that. His title. Everything he seems to say is pseudo historic. All right, let me grab the Biblio. I know I got a lot of clicks with the whole Alex O'Connor clickbait thing, but I'm just not in the mood for clicking, debating, and I don't have time to spend an extra half an hour arguing with beloved atheists. You know what the Bible says about atheism, though, right? It's not me, guys, and maybe this is why you hate the Bible. It says, the fool in his heart says there is no God. But then he also says that we shouldn't call people fools. So it's okay for God to call you people fools, but I'm not going to call you a fool. I'm just going to say the Bible says it. God says it. It wasn't me. So I'm not saying it. So I'm not condemned for saying it. It's kind of a workaround, isn't it? What was I looking for? King James Bible. I am. Here's the thing. My wife, when first of all, we got up for no reason because today's Lincoln's birthday, and somehow is Lincoln's birthday back on the menu? I thought they took Lincoln's birthday and Washington's birthday and they made President's Day, and now we don't celebrate Lincoln's and Washington's birthday anymore. We celebrate President's Day, and then we celebrate Martin Luther King Day. Did somebody fix that? Because my son's JoJo's in public school because it's a special needs class. It's not like, whatever. And so today's Lincoln's birthday. With Trump back in office, why not bring back Lincoln? I know, and I appreciate that. Lincoln, Washington, although Lincoln was a bit of a tyrant. But give them their own birthdays. Heck, give Martin Luther King a birthday too. I don't care. Although he was a sexual deviant. But, that doesn't take away the good that he did. I don't know. All I know is it's Lincoln's birthday and they sent my son, or that nobody was at school. Maybe my particular public school just likes to take extra days off. I don't have any idea. But, yeah, so anyways, we got up early. Well, I didn't get up. She got up. I got awoken. Took him to school, brought him back. And then she goes in, she pokes around on the internet for a while. And me, I'm like, okay, I'm in bed until 10 o'clock. I'll get up at 10, I'll prep. I'll do whatever I have to do, and then I'll have time to get on for cross-examinations before Isaac has to go to school. Oh, wait. No, I'm pretty sure he has to go to school. Let me double check. Isaac, you have school, right? Okay. Because it's Lincoln's birthday. Isaac's in a private homeschool center, so apparently they don't care about Lincoln's birthday. Which is fine. He only goes to school 1 day a week, so taking 1 day a week off is like taking an entire week off from that school. So whatever. Lincoln's birthday is Wednesday. Well, yeah, but we don't celebrate on Wednesday, do we? We celebrate on Mondays because we like our 3-day weekends. That all to say. So she tools around in here for an hour, and then she climbs into bed, and she puts her arm around me, and I'm like, I'm stuck. Because I don't want to not give her snuggle time. And then, like, I fall back to sleep, and then I wake up, and I look at the clock, and I'm like, oh, I don't have time. So anyways, the good presidents were assassinated or had attempted assassinations. Gettysburg is pretty dope. How does homeschool work? That's a longer story. Well, what the heck? Romans is a pretty short chapter, so in homeschooling, at least the way there's different ways to do it. Romans chapter 4. Yeah, it's only 25 verses. There's different ways because there's different homeschools and stuff. Like this homeschool we used to go to, they would have these PACES packets where they do the packets at the homeschool, and then you teach them the packets at home. So it's like it's way more integrated. It was like 3 days a week there, and then 2 days a week you get home, or 2 days a week there, 3 days a week at home. And so you just pace yourself in going through these packets called PACES. And it's very much, read the content, answer the questions, read the content, answer the questions. It's just confirming that you're capable of reading. And then some homeschooling, it's just you decide the curriculum yourself. It's like, I want my son to know economics, so I will make him read or listen to Thomas Sowell, Adam Smith. Why am I drawing a blank on this guy's name? Milton Friedman. Get him a true understanding of basic Austrian economics, because all they ever teach in public schools and universities is Austrian economics, which is bullcrap. So those 3 names you will never hear in a college campus. But if you want to know how markets actually work, then those are the 3 names you should actually be studying. How do parents deal with more advanced math, physics, chemistry, or text analysis on literature? Well, we already went through the math thing. Math is not that difficult. And also there's what's it called? Oh, what is it called? There's all kinds of math tutorials on YouTube. There's a specific channel, and I'm drawing a blank on it. Anyways, the tutorials are on YouTube. If you want to actually learn, you can learn all the math you want through those and through the books. as far as physics, chemistry, again, it's all just reading, right? You want to listen to lectures by teachers? You can go to YouTube. I'm sure you can go to YouTube. If you just want the lectures, you get the lectures, you get the readings, and then you can, if you want to do labs and stuff, that's one thing the homeschool thing does, is like they have with the chemistry, they do the labs at the school so that we don't have labs here. I don't have labs at home, but you could do experiments at home. Who oversees the actual progress? The parents, or if you're in a homeschool center situation where you go once a week, then the homeschool center teachers does it, and then the parents just make sure they do their homework every day. It's really funny if you remove all the bull crap and you just have students do the work. You come to the very early realization that you're spending most of your time in school wasting time in school, because particularly the earlier grades, all the homework you get assigned you can do in an hour, maybe an hour and a half, 2 hours tops, and yet somehow you're sending your kids off to be babysat for 8 hours a day. It's all a bit of an indoctrination scam. Varies from state to state. In Florida, you can have a teacher evaluate the student at the end of the year for competency at their grade level. Standardized testing isn't needed, right? Spectre says, I studied Smith and Friedman in college in my economics class. Really? It's so funny because I listened to, what's his face? That guy that goes on college campuses all the time and debates students. And every single time they're like, oh, what are you studying? Economics. And then like he asks, do you know Smith, Friedman, and Thomas Sowell? And they never have a clue who those people are. They never do. None of them. Oh, it's crazy. Have him read socialist crap too, so he can see why Friedman and Sowell are so awesome. I know, right? Education is overrated. Yeah, it's an indoctrination system. It really is. God does not care if you got an A in chemistry. It's true. So much of what you learn in high school does not simply does not apply to life. Unless you're doing something that requires a basic understanding of geometry. Trust me, unless you're playing pool, you're not going to use your geometry. The interactions with people that know the subject tend to be important. Also, particularly for the sciences labs, would be important. Joe, again, it depends. I mean, yes, if you're in the homeschool center, you have finals. Charlie Kirk, thank you very much. Thanks, that's him. All my economics professor did was sit there and bitch about Reaganomics all class. Complained about it, and then he lived through the greatest economic boom, the longest lasting economic boom since 50s. We did the most serious economic stuff in the last year of Lyceum. Before that, it was just mentioning the basics. Unfortunately, students are paying attention in classes they paid for. But as Smith is more or less looked at as the father of modern economics, it will be silly not to study his models. I agree. It is silly not to. And yet, none of these kids in modern college campuses will ever say they know who he is. Milton Friedman. It's like, bro, really? I'm not saying that's ubiquitous. I'm sure somewhere out there's a college teaching Milton Friedman. But what? No Mises? Oh, right. Sorry. Mises. No Mises? No Mises. I actually haven't read any Mises myself. So, yeah, I know. All right, let's get to the present share screen Biblios, because I gotta go in 15 minutes. Actually, less than 15 minutes. Wow, that is really, really big, isn't it? All right. And jeez. You know, I have to leave in like 10 minutes, so I'm just going to read through this and see if I... Hopefully I don't squirrel too much. Thankfully, generally speaking, Romans is pretty darn straightforward. What shall we say then about Abraham, our father, as pertaining to the flesh, hath found? For if Abraham were justified by works, he hath whereof to glory, but not before God. For what saith Scripture? Abraham believed God, and it was counted unto him for righteousness. Now to him that worketh is the reward not reckoned of grace, but of debt. Man. One of the kids in our Bible study believes that he has to follow the law, like he won't eat pork, and he Sabbaths Friday sundown to Saturday sundown. He very much sounds like a Seventh-day Adventist, but he's not. Right? And so like I tend to call him out a little bit because like we're reading through Romans in that Bible study. And I'm like reading this to him and I'm like, do you not get the entire point of the last 3 chapters? And then I read him Acts 10 when the Peter sees the vision. Take, kill, eat. Call not unclean that which I have made clean. Right? And it's like, it just won't. He's like, I read the thing where it said, follow the law. Jesus says, if you love me, obey my commandments. I'm like, oh, really? When's the last time you were sacrificing in the temple? There is no temple. Well, you can't. Anyways. But to him that worketh not, but believeth on him that justifieth the ungodly, his faith is counted for righteousness. Even as David also describeth the blessedness of the man unto whom God imputeth righteousness without works, saying... But also every Mormon and Seventh-day Adventist and Jehovah's Witness, every Christian cult that thinks you have to work your way to heaven, please read Romans thoroughly. To be fair, kill and eat was likely meant to accept the Gentile into Peter's house. Wow, God was telling Peter to kill and eat the Gentile? I'm going to let you know on that for a second. Even as David also describeth the blessedness of the man unto whom God imputeth righteousness without works, saying, blessed are they whose iniquities are forgiven and whose sins are covered. Blessed is the man to whom the Lord will not impute sin. Cometh this blessedness upon the circumcision only? In other words, those who keep covenant only? Or upon the uncircumcision also? For we say that faith was reckoned to Abraham for righteousness. How was it then reckoned? When he was in circumcision or in uncircumcision? Not in circumcision, but in uncircumcision. Again, this is about covenant. And he received the sign of circumcision, a seal of the righteousness of the faith, which he had yet being uncircumcised, yet that he might be the father of all them that believe, though they be not circumcised, that righteousness might be imputed unto them also. And the father of circumcision to them who are not of a circumcision only, but who also walk in the steps of that faith of our father Abraham, which he had, being yet uncircumcised. For the promise that he should be the heir of the world was not to Abraham or to his seed through the law, but through the righteousness of faith. For if they which are of the law be heirs, faith is made void, and the promise is made of none effect. Because the law worketh wrath, for where there is no law, there is no transgression. Therefore, it is of faith. By the way, this is also another argument about those who don't know the law. Those who are without the law are law unto themselves. Where there is no law, there is no transgression. The law works wrath. There is a punishment for the law, which is not meet to those who don't know the law. Hey, Tina's in his house. Therefore, it is of faith that it might be by grace to the end the promise might be sure to all the seed, not to that only which is of the law, but to that also which is of the faith of Abraham, who is the father of us all, as it is written, I have made thee a father of many nations, before him whom he believed, even God, who quickeneth the dead, and calleth those things which be not as though they were. Who against hope believed in hope, that he might become the father of many nations, according to that which was spoken, so shall thy seed be. And being not weak in faith, he considered not his own body now dead, when he was about 100 years old. Sorry, I don't think I've ever read it quite that way before. He considered his his own body now dead. Why? Because he was so old. Neither yet the deadness of Sarah's womb. He staggered not at the promise of God through unbelief, but was strong in faith, giving glory to God. I would just point out that he was, but Sarah had other ideas. I'm too old. Why don't you sleep with my take my handmaiden to bed with you? Maybe that's what God meant. Abraham's like, happy wife, happy life. Hey, oh. He staggered not at the promises of God through unbelief, but was strong in faith, giving glory to God, and being fully persuaded what he had promised, he was able also to perform. I'm not going to comment. And therefore it was imputed to him for righteousness. Now it was not written for his sake alone that it was imputed to him, but for us also, to whom it shall be imputed, if we believe on him that raised up Jesus our Lord from the dead, who was delivered for our offenses, and was raised again for our justification. And as my pastor always says, justification, he remembers it, because what is justification? It's just as if I never sinned. That is what justification is. All right. Yeah, Romans is so very straightforward. So that sounds awful. The deadness of Sarah's womb. Well, I mean, right before that, he said he was dead in his old age, or he was. That's what he was indicating. So interesting thought, though. He didn't change the unclean animals into clean animals. He didn't turn snakes into sheep. He declared the snakes clean as well. That's right. The argument that God cannot, with not even a wave of his hand, he just saying it, right? That the animals are now clean. Ritually, I mean, they're still like dirty, unclean in the sense that you don't want to eat raw pork. Here's the thing: they're in the Mediterranean. You should know this if you eat raw oysters. Never eat raw warm water oysters, because warm water oysters are where, you've heard of people getting flesh-eating bacteria from oysters. Those are warm water oysters. It is very rare, right, that people get it, but it is terrifying. If you get flesh-eating bacteria, it's like it's as bad as it sounds. It's flesh-eating bacteria, and you get those from warm water oysters. So anytime, like here California, it's all cold water, so we get cold water oysters. Don't have any problem with it. But anytime I'm like on the East Coast or in the Gulf, and they're like, "You want some oysters?" I'm like, where are the oysters from? And if they're like, "Oh, they're from the Caribbean," I'm like, hell no. They're like, "Oh, we imported them from Maine or Seattle or some cold water place." I'll be all right. That's fine. Japan has very cold water, like tiny little cold water oysters. Anyways, probably more information that you need to know. But there's a purpose to the clean water, clean versus unclean that goes outside the ritualistic clean. It is a health. They're all the clean versus unclean laws are very healthy still for you today. So I'm not saying you shouldn't follow them if that's your desire. I'm saying that they didn't know about bacteria, so God said just don't eat those. They didn't know about pigs causing tapeworms. About tapeworms burrowing into pigs, flesh, and then you eat the larva, and then it becomes a tapeworm in your system, and all that kind of stuff. They didn't know that stuff. We know if you have pork, you cook it to a minimum temperature for a minimum amount of time so that it kills any bacteria or any parasites in it, right? And then you're just eating dead parasite hulls. But whatever. To be fair to that kid, you can certainly pick out some verses that point to keeping the law. Yeah, but you have to read all of it. You have to read all of it. But 3 laws were given to the Gentile. In other words, we are likely not held to that standard for that reason, not held to the Jewish standard. That is, I know. I pointed that out to him. I'm like, you're a Gentile. Don't eat foods offered to idols. Don't fornicate. Actually, in one of them, it's just those 2. Paul is asked this question 2 or 3 times, and he says to the Gentiles, don't eat food sacrificed to idols and don't fornicate. That's our standard. You know what? No, I'm not even. You know what our standard is? To love God with all our heart, mind, and soul, and to love our neighbors as ourselves. That's our standard, and in that, all of the law and the prophets are fulfilled. People were eating pork in the Mediterranean for millennia without issue. It is even mentioned in the Odyssey. Okay, I'll just pretend like pork doesn't give you tapeworms if you don't prepare it correctly, Joe. Are you just denying that that's a reality? And like, people can survive with tapeworms. It's just not healthy. You have to do like parasite cleanses and stuff. That's also true of beef and fish. What? You don't get tapeworms from raw beef. What are you talking about? You don't get tapeworms from... Oh, here's the thing. You can get tapeworms from certain fish. You don't want to eat... I do, anyways. Ocean fish, you can eat raw. And this, I mean, obviously they cook their fish anyways, but they're not all Japanese. But like freshwater fish has parasites in it that, generally speaking, ocean fish don't. Yeah, but mercury, I don't think mercury was an issue back then. I really don't. Well, I can't believe that the only people who could not prepare and roast pork properly were the Jews. Well, no, what I'm saying is they wouldn't know, right? I mean, I love a medium rare steak. I will never cook my steak the way I would cook a pork, right? A pork loin. I don't want a medium rare pork loin. I bet you it tastes tender and delicious and whatever, but I don't want, and I would guess that people cooking back then who prefer more tender, more delicious meat would undercook their pork. I mean, that makes sense, doesn't it? If you like your steak medium rare, wouldn't you want your pork medium rare too? But you shouldn't. you should cook your pork to 100, I think it's 160 degrees for at least 20 minutes. You need to kill the pack because these are the things we learned because of science. We learn where those tapeworms go. Oh, I got to take my kid to school. All right. Thanks, everybody, for being here. God bless us, everyone. I'll see you on the next exciting episode of Cross Examination.
Back in line, you dog! On your feet! Get them going!